And we are back with the third game. I actually hope that this game is gonna last a little bit longer than the last two games between these two bad boys. Harstem starting to the bottom left of the map, Targa to the top right here at the Esports Venture Cup. And it was really quite funny when we saw the last two games. Both of them were finished in under 5 minutes as far as I remember. And we joked around in the lobby a little bit and we're like, guys, are you serious? It takes us longer to host the lobby and get all the players and the casters in the game than you to finish the map. And they were just commenting, buddy, listen, the next best of 5 is going to be played with Happy, and we're just trying to save some time here because Happy is going to play games that take at least 1 hour. So they're joking around there and actually really good spirits here. And in the last game, it was interesting to see that Harstem scouted what was going on and immediately tried to wall off. The fun thing really was that he pulled most of his probes down to the wall because he wanted to defend. He dropped the double pylon for complete wall and then suddenly realized, damn, I don't have enough resources to add the cannon. So suddenly he had to cancel one of the pylons, and unfortunately for him, that was exactly at the same time as the Zerglings were trying to rush in. So he didn't have the money, he tried to build a cannon, it was cancelled, then there were no resources left, and that kinda sealed the deal in game number 2. So now we have a 1-1 situation in the best of 5. It is not a best of 3, so this particular map here is not gonna decide the fate of either one of those players. And let's find out what Harstem can do here. He is currently going into a gateway opening, whereas Targa, on the other hand, is once more starting here with a hatch first. And earlier on in game number 1, Harstem was commentating on that opening with hatch first. Not on my watch. At least that was what he was saying after the game. Right now he sees that and he drops the pylon immediately. So he's still lingering around with the probe here. And if he doesn't start a forge back at home right away, which apparently he doesn't, then he's just trying to fake out his opponent a little bit. That probe is showing itself to that hatch several times, and Targa, he's not impressed. To be absolutely blunt, he doesn't give a shit. He's like, well, have your probe there, dude. I don't care. I'm not gonna send out a drone here and trying to find out what's going on. Because Harstem's idea here was to just like build that pylon. Targa's gonna scout it. He's gonna freak out, gonna pull all of his drones down to the bottom of the ramp and trying just to protect it and everything. Gonna lose a ton of mining time. But at the same time, Targa, he doesn't care, or he didn't see either one of the two, and Harstem's mind games completely backfired. So either the mind gamer was just mind gamed, or Targa just didn't care. One of the two. We have the expansion now also being built for Harstem, and the Protoss player also on the way with the cybernetics core, which will of course then allow his warp gate research. And the main question here in this game, for me at least now, is when we're going to see the third base for Targa. Targa with, I don't know exactly what ASS2M means, that clan tag that is currently using. Some people were actually suggesting that it means ass to mouth. I'm not really sure if I should interpret it like this, but it is an interesting interpretation. Might also be true, I have really no clue. There were a couple of speculations yesterday. A Ling is running around and just trying to, it's basically the StarCraft version of Where's Baldo. It's Where's the Probe? And the probe right now is actually not on the map anymore. There's only one probe at the bottom left. And talking about probes, one Zergling is trying to go all crazy on those drones, the probes that is, and taking one of them out. But now we have also the Zealot here, and the Zealots are just trying to deny the Zergling entrance into the main base. It's that oh so famous bouncer Zealot that we have here. Hey Alter, du kommst nicht rein. That's what he's always saying. So if you go to a club and there's this really mean guy that doesn't let you in because you're wearing the wrong shoes, that's this guy right there. And he's probably going to die later on, and we're all going to be really happy about that. What we also see is a Stargate being built at the bottom left of the main base, and that Stargate is not going to be scouted anytime soon by Targa. But on the other hand, Harstem is probably going to go for a Phoenix here, and that Phoenix then is going to hunt Overlords, as it should. To the top left, we currently have Targa with his third hatch. 6 minutes into the game, so not really too early. Usually as a Zerg player, when you're up against the gateway opening, you're trying to delay a little bit the third base, since it's very vulnerable to gateway attacks, and that gateway research is just so much faster if the Protoss player doesn't commit to a Forge expand, but starts with gateway into core immediately. So the top of the map, we see for Targa now also the added tech is just going into the Roach Warren and the Evolution Chamber. And we have, with the extractor, also enough gas to soonish start the tech into layer. Whereas, of course, as mentioned before, the Overlords are being attacked here with the Phoenixes. Yeah. takes down real quickly the first Overlord. It's gonna hunt down the second one too, and of course the response is immediate. Spore crawlers. That's what we see here within seconds, and they will keep those few Phoenixes at bay, at least at the beginning. That's what usually should happen there. So, well, there we go. The first one is already down, the second one follows suit. And we have both of them just macroing it up a little bit. Targa with the extra creep spread. And that is something that he did actually yesterday at the first day of the Esports Venture Cup quite well. His creep spread was off the charts. Scarlet was just looking at it, and she got all weak in her knees when she saw the creep spread of Targa, and she really liked that. So we are gonna find out if Targa is gonna commit this much queen energy to the creep spread once again, or if he's gonna be a little bit more sloppy in this matchup against Protoss right now. Starting to the top left, where we have that third base, we see so far only one Spore Crawler. The Queen needs to be a little bit careful about the positioning. If you are this far away from the Spore Crawler, you can be picked off, and that is actually a very real threat, and the Queen realizes that too. But it doesn't really matter, because the Phoenixes are fast enough. The Queen starts to go for an inject before it's being lifted, and there we go. One Queen down, an Overlord following as well. A little bit of unfortunate positioning by Targa here. And yeah, that is not really working in his favor. He loses quite a bit. And at the same time, the Zergling's just trying to deny a potential base over there, always ready for a run by, maybe a run in, taking down the bouncer that we all hate. We were talking about him a bit earlier. So now the Overlords are gonna fall, and he doesn't even micro his Phoenix. Well, one Phoenix goes down. That should not have happened. He could have done it a little better. And what? Harstem is suddenly confronted with Zerglings in the main base. How did he pull a mana here? I didn't even see a gap there. Somehow those Lings got in, and all of those probes are being attacked. Really nice how he pockets them into that small gap here in between the mineral patches. But that is a lot of mining time lost. That is a lot of... How many did he actually lose? I think not too many. 3 in total. Well, that is super annoying here for Harstem. And the Netherlands have to be careful. I think that weed is actually like legal in the Netherlands, at least for all the natives. So maybe Harstem was taking some medicinal herbs earlier today. That's why he's pretty chillaxed right now and is looking at that game and is like, Lings, let them in. Come on, buddy, join the fun. I actually think that's not the case, and I also want to remind everyone out there once again that drugs are bad for you. I'm not even kidding. Smoking, by the way, as well, so you should quit. If you're a smoker, your New Year's Eve resolution should have been, I'm gonna quit smoking, I'm gonna pull a healthy guy in 2014, and I hope that all of you are also sticking to that. So every cigarette that you don't smoke is prolonging your day by your life by probably a day at least. I have no clue. That was something that I completely made up, but smoking is bad for you. So, Void Rays are going to join the fun right now for Harstem. He's not only relying on the Phoenixes here, we have him in addition with his tag into Robo and also Twilight Council. So far the Protoss play is, except for that small faux pas that he had here with those Zerglings that were running in the main base, is having a pretty decent job. But also what we have is the Zerg player with a pretty good defense. The hallucinated Phoenix in the main base is just double checking what's actually happening here, and what he sees is that the Roach one is busy with a speed upgrade. We also have the Evolution Chamber with a +1 attack. Creep is being spread everywhere, and he's just preparing for whatever happens. He actually decides to, besides this composition, add Infestors that can help him really a whole lot against not only the Phoenixes, but later on against those Void Rays also quite a bit. So let's see how exactly he's going to transition into the later stage of the game here, because he's already taking a 4th base, and that allows him a really huge income. And it's not only a numbers thing that you play here. I'm, for example, a little bit surprised that we don't see a second Evolution Chamber, and there it is right now, with the 4th base taken, or him taking it, and that is definitely, he has enough resources to pull that off. 15 roaches also being built, and Harstem is a little bit timid here. Harstem is currently just at the bottom of the map and is looking at this and is like, oh, I don't want to move out just yet, it's a Zerg and he's dirty and like disgusting and ugh. I mean, there has to be a reason why Harstem picked pink in the first map. Well, we have one observer joining that army too, and that is actually a pretty good idea, especially since we have now all of those additional infestors, so we could see burrow moves later on, and then you really want to know what's happening there, so detection is coming into play. What we also see is a Templar Archive, and storms are pretty sick against Zerg, especially when the Zerg player is going for a mainly Ling and Hydra based composition. And feedback's of course also quite amazing against Infestors. And it's Targa who's taking the initiative here. It's always the guy who has to make the first move. And Targa is now moving down to the bottom of the map with this very manly composition here. Is dropping the first few Infested Terrans, but the Void Rays are gonna do quite some damage. On the other hand, the Injects, not the Inject, but of course all those Fungals are pretty decent as well. Harstem is being pushed back here and his force fields are not too shabby. And all of those Infestors are having a tough time really keeping those Void Rays at bay with the help of those few Hydralisks. The Roaches make up the major part of that army, and Roaches against Void Rays, that's a very unusual, well, that doesn't usually work in favor of the Roaches, let's just put it that way. So Roaches having a pretty cool time here, 8 kills, 6 kills and 2 kills, and now it's time for Harstem to just hunt down Targa, moves in with the Phoenixes, lifts a couple of units, takes them down, and Targa on his 4 bases already remaxed once again. The strength of Zerg throwing army after army against the opponent until he dies, and that's exactly what the Zerg player is trying to achieve here. Moving in once again, the Infestors are trying to get to the front, dropping those volleyballs immediately in the midst of the battle. And we do not have a lot of force field energy. We do not have any sentries, so no force fields any longer. And this puts Harstem with the back to the wall. He's losing all of his Void Rays already. A single one is able to survive a little bit longer and tries to move away. But Harstem with another round of warp-ins. But the army supply is so much in favor of Targa now with 118 against 53. And here comes the Protoss once more. The force fields being dropped and a few of the Infestors are caught off guard, taken out right away, but Harstem is just losing way too much here. Targa, with sheer numbers, is trying to overwhelm the player from the Netherlands, and it looks like he's able to accomplish that goal. He needs to move back for now, trying to get a better position, and also moving in with additional Infestors, but they are out of energy already, and Harstem is just desperately trying to defend this third base somehow, buy himself a little bit time for an additional round of warp-ins, but Targa is merciless here. He is advancing on the map, and even the force fields don't stop him. A few of the Hydralisks are caught under a force field. That's probably a very uncomfortable spot to be, because I feel that is very that's probably a very tiny space where they are crawled in. And there's the GG as Harstem realizes that with 57 overall supply, he cannot beat a 200 supply army. GG has been called, and Targa takes a 2-1 lead in the best of 5, and we are soon going to jump into game number 4 of the series here at the Esports Venture Cup.